Governor Josh Shapiro presides over a crucial swing state that is called Pennsylvania. And that could decide the upcoming presidential election. That one state. Imagine that. What kind of crazy system is that?
The Electoral College.
I know, but
yeah, okay, so that's how it's always been. Like, what are you going to do, start wham about it? I like her dress, by the way. Also, yes, don't worry, it'll swing blue. Believe me. The setup out here is crazy. And the Republicans did nothing about it. They complained and nothing was done. Yes, I'm a registered Republican. I do not have GOP money. I don't have GOP funding. Okay. So I can't, all I could do is make people aware of what's going on. And I've done that. But to change the system, what's been done to the DMVs and registration by Josh Shapiro? Okay.
It doesn't make any sense. What about Minnesota? What about Wisconsin? Those are good things.
What about New York?
New York is not a swing state. He also is a rising star in the Democratic Party who delivered a rousing speech at last month's DNC. Take a look.
It's not freedom to tell our children what books they're allowed to read. No, it's not. And it's not freedom to tell women what they can do with their bodies.
These people scare me. They do. They really do. When they start talking about what books they're allowed to read, you would think that they're talking about books about Harriet Tubman or something. Like, no, bro is up there screaming for books about how to put your mouth on it, telling little kids of the same sex. We'll leave it there.
And hear me on this, it sure as hell isn't freedom to say you can go vote, but he gets to pick the winner. That's not freedom.
Please welcome Governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
Okay, so let me just break down Josh Shapiro to you guys. Just real quick, and by the way, thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, y'all. We are so back. We are so back. We're making the moves. I see the numbers. They're coming up, guys. I need some more. Give me some more love. But thank you so much for all that you do. Now, coming back to it, Josh Shapiro, I gotta hand it to him this much. The man is not a good guy. He covered up some cases here that are crazy. Okay. He comes across as this cool, young, hip, very well dressed, good for the photo op. Look at him. He's smiling. He has his sneakers on, but they match the suit, tailored nice. He looks good. We can't even front. Are we having a serious conversation or not? So you could just swoon all over this man, and don't get it twisted. Presidency is the next step. You just wait. Presidency is the next step. The problem is, though, we have to look past those kind of, shiny hairstyles and shiny suits, and really get to the crux of what a person is saying. Really get down to the true conversation. But watch these women. I know they're going to be look at them. They're ready.
I like the new digs.
You like
Nice,
that?
right?
Yeah, this is
Fancy.
Why, were you here in the old digs?
No, you didn't invite me.
No.
But
But
I'm
he
glad
saw
to be
it on
here
TV.
today.
In the new digs, yeah.
Yeah,
This
we
is
can promise
amazing.
you it wasn't this good.
Yeah.
You're super popular in Pennsylvania. My cousins live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah? Am I doing all right by them?
They like you. Most of them.
Most?
Well, some of them are Trump supporters, like we were talking about this before, but those are not blood.
I was just in Pennsylvania this week
those are not blood,
doing
they're
something
in-laws.
in Bethlehem with Puerto Ricans. I promise them you're coming to see them. Okay.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
But
They
Governor,
love you too.
I was in the Lehigh Valley yesterday, actually. I'm sorry we didn't hook up. It'd be fun. We had to come
Excuse
to
me?
New York.
See what he does is he's schmoozing her and she's taking it all in. Like, we can't even it is fascinating to watch. Listen, okay, Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania is a beautiful state. It's always been a beautiful state. Okay, it has nothing to do with Josh Shapiro, but there's a lot of problems in PA. When we had the, remember, what was that last year, the beginning of last year, when we had was it even, I think it was like the year before, the Palestine, Ohio, was it East Palestine, Ohio gas thing that Ohio and Pennsylvania share a border, so it flooded into Pennsylvania, and this guy was like nowhere to be found. Okay, miss me with it. Okay, stop it now.
Hook up.
Well, I meant like.
Don't start rumors.
Takes us back on the rails,
Is that
Joy.
on air? You said that?
Yeah, that was on it. So, you're a very charismatic speaker. I found you very compelling to watch the DNC. People are comparing you to President Obama, who also was a charismatic speaker.
Yeah.
So that's a big compliment, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, Barack Obama is the greatest orator of my lifetime. So if anybody's saying that, that's really nice. I will tell you that speech is as a result, and speaking about freedom, which I think is a fundamental issue in this campaign, is really as a result of a conversation I had with my wife around the kitchen table probably 3 years ago now. I'm running for governor, and I was about to go out on a week-long trip across Pennsylvania. My wife and I are blessed with 4 kids. We got them out of the house, and you know that minute where you just get to kind of calm down?
Thank goodness.
And we had about 30 minutes together, and I thought, we're gonna have coffee, we're gonna talk about life, not talk about politics. And she just goes off on, I can't believe these people always talking about freedom.
Yeah.
And then tell me what medicine I can take. Tell me what I can do with my body. It's not freedom.
So
and
she wrote the speech, baby.
This is the same man. Like, you see how rude, this is horrible for me. This is the same person who's all about the mandates, He's all about that life. Like, listen, the only reason why we don't necessarily have it going on right now is because it's not going on right now, but when it needs to go back on, it will, okay? This is the person who sued nuns for opening up their shelters for people to come into during the so-called, you all already know, the big cough that everybody wrote crazy legislation for and destroyed the country, okay? All right? Because he was our attorney general, okay? He went after nuns. Are you serious? This is extraordinary.
Lobby feels that their freedom is to own an AR-15. How do you answer their freedom requests?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there is a way to protect the Second Amendment rights. And look, the rich heritage we have around hunting and family time in Pennsylvania, and also make sure a kid can go to school without getting shot. A kid can walk to and from school without getting shot. We can balance that.
There is a balance there. I agree with you, Governor. Now this energy that you have, I was also at the DNC. You've brought it to the speech. It's spread all over the Democratic Party. I mean, people were waving flags. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
We're the patriotic party.
Really?
That's
I mean,
right.
before the Republicans sort of had the corner on the flag and on being patriotic, the Democrats now seem to have that mantle. It's alive. It's well. It feels like a total turnaround in my view since President Biden selflessly just stepped down, much like George Washington.
Get your veneers fixed and you're not going to have a hard time saying the word, okay, selflessly. Okay, that's number one. Number two, since I had to stop it because she just really got on my nerves just now. The glazing is just too much for me. But now they're the patriot. This guy, let me tell you something. This guy, and the media makes it even better. He says our rich heritage of hunting, and God, you get on my nerves, and all of that, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, why do you want to put a law on that? What is it? So how would you, the next question that should have followed is, how would you protect the Second Amendment? And then this, children not being hurt at schools thing or whatever. How would you do that without touching the Second Amendment? What is your plan? Right? Nobody asked them. They clap their hands. And of course, they're schmoozing all over him. I mean, she can't even speak. The veneers are getting out all over. Like, wow.
Washington. Now, how much has this race changed, do you think, since I can't talk today? And will the momentum last?
Yeah, look, first off, let's say, speak truth here. Joe Biden is a great patriot. He has been for decades, and he showed tremendous leadership. There is real momentum. Folks are fired up. And listen, it's not just folks who are going to vote for Kamala Harris based on polls and based on, what they're raising their hand and saying. It's the energy around what happens when you put a sign on your lawn.
Yeah.
Right? When you
Yeah.
give a permission slip to your neighbor, I see a whole lot of Harris signs going up all across
lot.
Pennsylvania. It's when you show up at that, that storefront that says Harris Walls on the front and say, I'm willing to take a shift, knocking on doors. I'm willing to call some people, text some people. That excites folks. And listen, for as much as the ads are important, for as much as the speeches are important, when your neighbor walks over to you and says, yo, I'm for Kamala and here's why,
Yeah.
that has a huge impact on the race. And that's what I'm seeing in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That permission slip from our neighbors. And let's be clear, it's not just in Philly and Pittsburgh. I love Philly and Pittsburgh. But it's in some of these rural communities that are really interested in Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It's in some of these ex-urban communities that have kind of shifted back and forth. Alyssa, you know from your political experience, these folks are getting really interested in Kamala Harris, and I think that is shows that there's some not only real excitement now, but some real prospect for seeing the momentum continue.
Let me tell you about the crooked Democrats, okay? Because I remember Ben Shapiro was going off like, they didn't give him the VP slot because he's Jewish, and that's why they didn't give it to him because he's Jewish. And I'm like, Ben, calm down. First off, there's no need to give it to him. I got to hand it to the Democrats. They were smart. They gave Kamala Tim Walz, who seems like a rural, I knew they were going to go this route. A rural guy who looks like he goes duck hunting and everything else as well, okay? Josh Shapiro is a talent on his own that doesn't have to shine behind Kamala. Are we being serious or are we not, right? Look out for this next threat. He's the real threat. I'm so sincere because nobody's going to see him coming. I can see Republicans, especially where the Republican Party is going today. The Republican Party itself, it is trying to go back to that establishment Republican Party that, more easily taken in kind of party or whatever. This would be the perfect candidate for him. You know how I know? Because massive Republicans in Pennsylvania went and voted for Josh Shapiro instead of Doug Mastriano. Okay, so there's that. So for the person, because there was somebody who was saying to me, oh, there's no such thing as new 9-month abortions. Okay, let me help you out, right? I'm going to explain to you exactly how that works. New York is so excited, especially with with the response to Roe v. Wade. So they tell you that you can get an abortion from like 24 weeks of the start of the pregnancy without requiring reason from a patient, okay? But technically it means that under the law from the beginning of the pregnancy would be like 28 weeks, all right? So 28 weeks, so we take 28 times divided by 4, so you could say that's about 7 months pregnant. Now, the thing is that after the last 2, and I personally think that this is a loophole anywhere, I would imagine, but I don't want to go there because of the fact that, if I don't have those kind of facts in front of me, I don't want to go there and say something that's not true. So anyway, coming back to it, after that point, they may provide abortion care in cases where a patient's health or life is at risk, or when the fetus is non-viable. We'll exclude that. Obviously, if the fetus is non-viable, right, that's different. A stillbirth, like, really? Okay. That's not an abort. That's like you're miscarried and, unfortunately, sadly, right? I can tell you as a nurse, when it says patient's health or life is at risk, if the mom comes in and says, I feel like I'm going to end myself because I'm pregnant, and they're 9 months pregnant, and they can get a psychiatrist who will be more than happy. There's too many feminist psychiatrists out here who will sign that for you. They have no problem doing it, okay? Believe me, they have no problem doing it. You get one to sign that for you, sign a script saying that, or some sort of diagnosis, which can be done, you're smooth sailing. And I hate that they already know, okay? This is not that hard. It's not a crazy hypothetical, okay? This is how you work the system. And this is the type of stuff that would happen. This is the type of stuff that I'm sure is happening. And let's be real. If you want me to say to you, well, it's not a life because it's not outside, I'm not. Life begins at conception. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. Because we never used to lie about it back in the 90s and the early 2000s about when life begins. When I started hearing this conversation about, well, when does life begin? I'm like, wait a minute, that's a weird conversation. Everybody knew when life began. They just decided to do what they wanted to do or whatever, you know? Nobody talks about, too, what goes into the procedure. I'm not going to get all the way into it. Let me tell you something about these feminist women, these Democrat women. I remember when I was 27, you know, and I said to this lady, you know, at Houlihan's, I was like, hey, you know, I wouldn't want because she was saying like, oh, you have to vote. I forgot who was running. I think it was Obama. And she was like, well, you know, you got to vote Obama. You got to vote Obama, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Obama regardless because I was young, you know, and he was the black president and, you know, the whole thing. Right. Yes. I don't shy away from that. And she was like, well, you know, because you can't let these Republicans, they'll take away your rights to abortion. I said, well, I don't, and I've always been this way where I'm like, I can't impose my life on others. My values are that I won't get one. Like, this is my family, how we talk. Like, it's a very conservative family. Okay. So, you know, and I'm not judging anybody else who's ever had that. Anywho. So I said to her, I said, well, I wouldn't have one, but, and she's like, no, you never know when you need one. No, no, you don't, you know, like almost pushing me. And I was like, no, yeah, I wouldn't have one, but I'm still voting for Obama. Like, and she thought it was the craziest thing, you know? And I remember another woman telling me one day, like when the Roe v. Wade thing happened, and they were like, oh, they're taking away abortions from black women need to be able to have abortion. I'm like, whoa, this feels kind of weird, this conversation. But there's a lot of talk around this conversation that we don't have, but they make it shiny and they make it wonderful, and it's rights, your free rights, your rights to bleed, your rights. Everything is your rights. Just pay attention to what they're packing up and presenting to you in a beautiful, shiny suit, such as Josh Shapiro on this beautiful set with these crazy women of The View. I see you guys at the next one. Bye.